This segment is sponsored by GBMC Healthcare.
Well, a recent study showed that during the pandemic, survivors of domestic violence and abuse have been at an increased risk of contracting suspected or confirmed COVID-19. So joining me now is Clinical Program Manager for the Sexual Assault, Forensic Examination, and Domestic Violence Program at GBMC, Clary. All right, so thanks so much for being here with us today. So why do you think that this study is important? And then what's really the take-home message from all this research?
So I think the study is important because it really looked at why victims of domestic violence are at a higher risk. And it's because they're typically trapped at home in close proximity with their abuser and potentially with others. Additionally, the study showed that in some cases, their abuser was actually had COVID-19 and then intentionally giving it to their partner, and then going as far as even restricting access to medical care that they may need during this difficult time. So it was all about maintaining that power and control over their partner. And we did see a spike in these cases during the pandemic.
So what is your advice heading into the second round of COVID-19?
So what I always want people to know is that you are not alone, and that there are places here that can help you. There are a lot of community resources. You did not deserve what happened to you. You do not deserve to be going through this. So we are here at GBMC Safe and Domestic Violence Program 24/7, 365 days a year. And you're always welcome to reach out to us for help, and we can help link you to other places in the community that can be there for you during this difficult time.
All right, now what are some ways that people might be experiencing abuse by their partner during the pandemic?
So we see abuse in a couple different forms. When people think of abuse, they typically think about physical abuse, the bruises and black eyes, things like that. But abuse comes in a lot of forms. We see financial abuse. We see digital abuse. That's a really big one during the pandemic. A lot of people relying on, the internet and their phones for communication, but their abuser is restricting them from being able to use that, or watching them use that and tracking what they're doing, as well as, again, medical abuse, where they're not allowing them to get, medical treatment that they may need during the pandemic. So there's a lot of different forms that we're seeing.
And so what are some of the reasons that victims don't come forward?
So fear, for one thing. Studies show that when a victim decides that they're wanting to leave their abusive situation, it's the most dangerous time in their life. So they're fearful of that. They may be fearful that people aren't going to believe them, or that they don't have anyone to turn to, or they may feel very alone, or they may even be blaming themselves for this happening.
All right, such great information, Laura. Thank you, as always, for joining us. People know where they can find you if they have any concerns. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.